Okay, let's call to order the April, August 4th, 2022 meeting of the Ellettsville Plan Commission.
That's right. You were looking.
Oh, I
at
was
it.
looking at the approval of minutes. Okay, never mind. Pam, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ain't technology great?
It is. It's fantastic.
It was operator.
Okay, before we do roll call, I want to acknowledge and welcome our new planning director, Denise Line, who was just appointed as the planning director. This will be her first meeting as the planning director.
Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Congratulations again. Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thanks. So
And-
have patience with me.
And now get to work. It's time for roll call.
Yeah.
David Drake,
Here.
Dan Swafford,
Here.
Terry Baker, Don Talbot,
Here.
Sandra Hatch,
Here.
Pamela Samples,
Here.
Pat Wezolowski.
Here.
The first item on the agenda is approval of minutes from April 7th, 2022.
Can you please table those?
Okay. Do we have to make a motion to table? Somebody?
Please. I make a motion to table the minutes from April 7th, 2022.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Monthly conflict of interest statement. Anybody have a conflict of interest statement they want to make? We don't have any old business. New business is preliminary plat approval for 9 single-family lots in Prominence Place, Phase 3, North Loudon Road and West Vika Drive. Petitioner is Value Built Construction. Case number is PC 22-05.
This is a petition for preliminary plat of Prominence Place, Phase 3. Excuse my PowerPoint not taking whole screen. I had it working earlier. The petitioner is Value Built Construction. Ernest C. with Value Built is present at the meeting as well, has his engineer A.J. Willis. This is for 9 acres, 9 single-family lots, it's approximately 5 acres. You've approved. Oh, thanks.
Thank you.
You've approved phase 1 of this before, which was 63 single lots in September of 21. This, in the first phase that you approved, was a road to be installed West Vika Drive, and that will go into those 9 lots that will also be parallel to Loudon Road, but they won't be accessed off of Loudon Road. The lots will meet all size and dimensional requirements as specified in town code. New infrastructure will be constructed pursuant to town requirements. The Tech Review Committee met on July 20th. Just very few comments just from the fire department about a few things he had to do. There, everything's been satisfied. Petitioner will have to get a letter of credit to cover any outstanding items prior to the recording of the plat. I guess that's about it for me. All notices have been sent. Staff recommends approval of the proposed preliminary plat.
Okay. Do anybody from the commission have any questions for Denise?
I just got one. How much credit do they normally get? Credit approval required?
It depends on the amount of work and infrastructure go in. This is 9 lots, so I don't think it'll be too much. The 63 lots was about 300.
The first total is probably closer to 8 or 9, but we did it in 2 smaller sections, about 400 apiece.
Okay.
Do we make that determination? out of your office?
Well, the engineer will put together what he thinks the bond should cover, and then we will review it. And depending on what it is, we'll get with street or our utilities and say, is this sufficient to cover it?
Okay, thank you.
And as far as the fixed assets, I need to know all that underground structure to put on our fixed assets when it's all said and done. It's not ready yet, but
Yeah.
I just want to keep you in mind that I need those figures before you are done.
Rick Coppy provided those, but he's no longer with Bynum and Faneuil, so AJ, I'll get that list to you of what Sandy needed. Okay.
And then my only other question was from your first section that butted up against Prominence Point. I have a friend that lives close by and there was water issues. So have those been resolved in the backyards of the existing homes?
Sure, so that section is,
should
that I
come up
believe
here.
she's talking about, is the southwest corner of Prominence Place. Maybe the south, like west or east corner or east edge of Prominence Point.
I'm not real good at my directional in Ellettsville. It's not the clearest.
Sure, so I got with Rick Kopic, Rob Van Evender, and basically we all looked at that and looked at technically, according to the water that was taken away from the drainage that has always been going that direction, we removed, I think they said it was 30 to 40% of the water that ended up in those yards beforehand. So we were supposed to have made it better from what it used to be. The other thing is that section is actually Ellettsville property, that conservation section, but I believe that's up to those. But I could be mistaken.
So the conservation section's not for storm retention?
It's for a single-
The town has not officially taken in that property yet. Ernest has generously donated that to the town for some green space, but it's not been officially deeded to the town yet.
Okay, well, and the issue is the runoff was mud,
Yeah.
and so
We
there,
did take care of any sediment that left the site. That was, there's now silt fence and silt sock running across the entire side of Prominence Place, separating Prominence Point and Prominence Place. So that was, all sediment has been, stopped. But, yeah, that was, in terms of water, it should be controlled.
What is the width of that space between Prominence Point and Prominence Place
So
that nobody will
that's a
build
deep
on?
gap. So that deep gap is 50 feet.
Yeah, that's between Prominence Point and then the new subdivision's 50 feet that won't be built on,
and there's a sinkhole on it?
No, the 50 feet, no, but
on our side.
That's
the
the
sinkhole is actually part of Prominence.
thing they're talking about that doesn't belong to anyone. And this is the town's property right here. On the very northeast corner.
Sorry, he was showing me pictures.
Oh, no, but the sinkhole conservation that Rick Kopic put in is actually due to a sinkhole that's in Prominence Point. That's a long time ago, but it was to allow for, like a space around that sinkhole.
Well, there was water issues up there before you built, and I know that too, so,
Well, according to Rick and their calculations on stormwater, their understanding is, we had a heavy rain that looked like, it was pushing water into those backyards. But according, I talked to Rick Coffey about it, my farmer, and stormwater in general, and they said technically, according to their calculations, there's more water being directed away from it now because of the road that's not anymore. And that goes to another stormwater section.
where will these new lots?
It's on the other side, I think.
Okay,
So
but it'll
towards
drain
Loudon.
toward Loudon's?
They
Loudon.
drain into our system that goes into Baker's property eventually, that wetlands that's behind, on the north side.
And that's unbuildable land?
It is according to what I there's samples there as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, would the petitioner like to say anything in addition?
Can you come up now, Ernest, please? Be sure to tell him your name again.
Hi, hello. Should I sign in?
Nah.
Okay. I'm Ernest with Value Built. We've been a builder in Ellettsville for several years now, and our first major project in Ellettsville was Prominence Place, and it's moved along nicely. I know the town and I have worked well together in the past, and we've always had a good rapport, but this is really just a small extension of what we've already done. Probably the same product. We've been trying to target homes anywhere from 225 to 400 in that range to give people options. We did have one close recently at 227. So we're trying to create more realistic price point housing for, people that live in Ellettsville, as opposed to, some of our competitors shooting in the $500,000 and $700,000 range. So that's really where we, kind of stay in. And go
How
ahead.
many houses have you finished up there?
Up there, we have finished somewhere between 15 and 20, and there's probably 20 under construction, 15 to 20 under construction.
And are they selling pretty quickly?
Everything's sold.
Wow. Excuse me for interrupting. Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, you're fine. Yeah, we think there's a real need for, and we're looking at other projects in Ellettsville specifically to create, like my goal is not that dissimilar to Cook's goal, with their Texas Pike project, and we're actually looking at bidding that right now, but creating housing that's really realistic for, people that, have regular jobs, But, that's something we're working on right now. Land is very expensive in Ellettsville now. Any other questions, I suppose, while I'm up here?
All right, thank you. Is there any public comment in regards to this petition? Seeing none, that means there's no rebuttal by the petitioner needed, and no rebuttal by the public. Okay, so we're now on to a discussion and vote. Anybody want to discuss or make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the preliminary plat approval for the 9 single-family lots in Prominence Place, Phase 3.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Denise, roll call, please.
David Drake,
Yes?
Dan Swafford.
Yes.
Don Calvert,
Yes.
Sandra Hash,
Yes.
Pamela Samples,
Yes.
Pat Wesolowski.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you. Okay, the next item on our agenda is Planning Department update.
We're busy, but we don't have anything on the horizon right now for September, and I think that deadline's next Friday. So right now, there's not any new business.
All righty. Privilege of the floor. Does anyone in the public want to bring up something that we didn't have on our agenda tonight? Seeing none, Planning Commission comments.
Yeah, I got one. I watched the town council meeting, the last one, and the Vision of Ellisville. And it sounds like we're supposed to know about it, but I haven't heard anything come across the floor here when Kevin was here. I was told we're supposed to be getting some plans or whatever. And it strikes me that the town of Ellisville wants to kind of bypass the planning commission. And I'd just like to know what's going on and what's going on with it. Does anybody know?
There's no intent to bypass the plan commission. And so what the town may do is hire the Taylor Group to start to put together a comprehensive plan update and also to update the planning and zoning ordinances. And I think the plan commission and the town council talked about hiring a third party or outside party to do that even before we had that Vision Ellettsville meeting. So the plan commission's not gonna be bypassed because the Taylor Group has to bring that plan before the plan commission before it can go anywhere. So we just haven't gotten to that yet. In other words, the town council hasn't approved that task order or contract with the Taylor Group. So nothing's going to happen without the plan commission knowing about it.
You know, when Kevin was here, and I could be wrong, it was either the last meeting or the meeting before we had, he was going to hire an individual and somebody on the planning commission or a company to update what you're talking about, and it was a $50,000 budget put in it. Is that still in plan? Is that what we're talking about, or what?
It's the same thing.
It's the same
I mean,
thing.
most of the money's coming from the ARPA funds. Not all of it, for the Vision Ellisville. Some of it is coming from grant money that Denise obtained for the trails. That's where the design money's going to come from.
It just strikes me that, you know, I don't know about anybody else up here, but I do not have anything showing what their plans are or
Because none
anything.
have been put together, Pat.
Well, evidently it must be because they had a booklet, the Vision of Ellettsville.
You can grab a booklet right back there on your way out. That's what I presented to the town council 2 or 3 meetings ago. And there's an Vision Ellettsville book that you can borrow. But, I mean, it's an overall concept plan or a global strategy for Vision Ellettsville. There are no distinct plans yet on how to update the comprehensive plan or the planning and zoning ordinances. It's just part of a process. It's a step in the process.
Is it on our webpage, Denise?
Nobody ever got it to me.
Yeah, I was asked if I had an electronic copy too, and I do not.
Well, I guess I'll make one comment about that whole situation. I saw that meeting as well, and one of the council members was publicly making some comments about the fact that the Plan Commission doesn't seem to be doing anything, which I didn't think was in very good taste. I wouldn't sit up here and criticize the town council in a public meeting. Maybe it would be better to find out what's actually going on before you spout off things in public. That's all I have to say.
The Envision, all that was discussed or maybe it's gonna be 3 now this Monday, town council meetings ago was a refresher, if you will, about the Envision Ellettsville plan, because the Envision Ellettsville committees have held meetings for the last, William's not here, Pam's here, 9 months to a year, and they've consistently reported to the town council about their progress, and they had a meeting here at the town hall on May 17th and unveiled the plan. And so if you borrow the book that's in the conference room here, what you'll see is that plan that was presented to the public. And when I say plan, again, it's not a specific, plan for updating the comprehensive plan or the zoning ordinance. It's just a plan that says, here's what we think needs to be done, and here's the order we're going to do things in.
It's the plan for how to update
It's the plan for the plan,
Right.
exactly. And if you want to, you can have one of those notebooks back there, because has pertinent pages from the plan and then the contracts that were discussed at that town council meeting.
So basically, it's saving us the work to have to obtain all the information
Right,
that will go into updating the plan.
right. You're just subcontracting it out. But nothing can be passed and nothing can go to the town council without the plan commission being involved.
You know, without getting into it too deep, if you watched the meeting, you knew I was not happy one bit. And I sympathize with what Pat and David both are saying too. It did seem like the planning commission was being bypassed. And it just upset me in all different levels, different phases of that plan. So without me going to deep think about it, because I really don't want to rehash that night, it was horrible. I understand what you're saying. And, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I just want to say that I think because of Kevin's departure, it didn't help us to get that information. Maybe if he would have been here, and that's just a big if, but, I mean, there was public notice about the meeting, and they invited the public to come, and I personally, as at the clerk treasurer's office, have never been offered a full copy or a digital copy. So I don't know. I don't know where the ball dropped, but
Yeah, and I do remember a comment being made that we couldn't wait for the planning commission because they didn't meet until today. But it was obvious we didn't meet the month before because there was nothing on the agenda. So if they really wanted to talk to us, they had ample opportunity to do that. So that was another thing that upset me, because they could have met the month before. There was nothing on our agenda. We could have spent the whole meeting talking about it.
but I think I think what they really wanted was to do that public outreach and us be part of that public outreach.
Did they ever come to our planning commission meetings?
No, but they advertised the meeting. They had a couple of things here. They had a work session with the little boards where you could put your opinion down with sticky notes on a lot of different things. They had a survey that they begged everybody to fill out. And then they had that grand finale, so to speak. So maybe you didn't get the notice. It would have been nice if you did, but sometimes maybe it's a little bit on us. I'm not trying to be ugly, guys, but maybe we need to pay a little attention and make sure when there is a public event like that, we make a point to be there. We're the Plan Commission. We should have been there to support them, and I
Well-
was.
Well, that's good and said, but then on the other hand, they want to work with us and provide a comprehensive plan and everything else. You'd think they would have started here before they even came to the council, so.
Well, I do agree with what I think Sandy was trying to say a few minutes ago, that with Kevin leaving and Kevin knowing that he was leaving, maybe some things kind of fell through the cracks.
How so?
Well, I'm not saying anything wrong about
No,
you. I'm
no.
just saying that I think maybe that created some confusion maybe, and a little, and so we didn't, I don't know how I'm trying to say this, that maybe he wasn't quite as involved as maybe he would have been if he hadn't known he was leaving. I don't know.
So let me ask this then, what does the Plan Commission want to see happen from now on? What is it that you want with regard to the Vision of Ellisville plan?
Well, I'll give you my 2 cents, if it's worth anything. We're up here to make sure that the town of Ellettsville is taking care of the buildings and so on and so forth, our constituents. And when we don't know what's going on, and people ask you, and we say, I don't know anything about it, it strikes me personally that the Vision of Ellisville has more power today than this planning commission. And when they had that town council meeting, and that's how they presented it. I think that the town of, the Vision of Ellettsville and whoever should be talking to us so we can then make recommendations to the town council. That's how normally everything works. We make recommendations for the housing and so on and so forth. And it goes to the plan. He don't go to the town council at first, he comes to us.
One of the things they did say that they were excellent at was informing everyone of what was going on. So maybe there was just a break in that link, because the Chamber of Commerce came to every town council meeting, but not a single Plan Commission meeting. So we did get bypassed, I think, in the whole process, and I don't know why. I don't know if, that maybe, I don't know.
Since we don't have nothing, probably for the next meeting, would it be possible maybe to set up and have the Vision Ellisville come before us on that night?
Sure. What do you want them to talk about specifically? I can have Ron Taylor come down from the Taylor Group if you want. I think he said at that meeting that they were going to meet with the Plan Commission. I mean, that was part of their plan. The purpose of that meeting that you're all talking about was to just get the master contract signed and the memorandum of understanding signed between the town and Vision Ellettsville as to how this whole thing was going to go. Again, it was just a global agreement to agree as opposed to any specific task orders. I guess the town council approved one task order, but it was just to kind of lay out the plan. And I am gonna have to part company with you, Pat, about Vision Ellettsville having more power than the Plan Commission because they have no power.
Well, I understand that.
They're in the
Okay.
same position they were and they have been. It's strictly advisory.
But that's not how it is portrayed, okay? It's when two people stand up there and the town council asks them all kind of questions about what they want done here, okay?
Right.
They should be talking to us, I would say, because we are the planning department. Do they want to put a baseball field, next door? Or is it legal to put a baseball field, just being throwing words around? We should be the ones, in my mind, and I could be wrong, we should be the ones making the decisions for them to go to the town council and say, we met with all the people, and this is what they accepted. And they're not doing it. They're bypassing us and going to the town council first.
They're working it from a different angle, for sure, because they are gonna form all these task force. There's like 9 different ones, and they want participants on those task force. So instead of bringing it to us, I think they're trying to pull other people into the situation to get a bigger audience, and they would like us to participate on those task force, but it's definitely out of what we're used to.
Well, I think it
I
has,
didn't plan on saying this, but I'm going to say it. So, my intent at that meeting was to make everybody's job easier. And it didn't turn out that way. And I apologize. I realize not all of my ideas are winners. But I got a little irritated because there were some people at the meeting who took umbrage at the fact that there were notebooks to read and things to talk about. My point in putting together the notebooks was to try to make it easy for the council because half of it is stuff you've already seen. Either contracts you've already approved, or sorry, not contracts, ordinances you've already approved, and portions of the Vision Ellettsville plan, which was presented in May. The rest of it was new stuff, but I put it together so that everybody could see the segue between Vision Ellettsville and what we were discussing at that meeting. Obviously, that did not turn out well, but my intent was to make it easier for everybody. And I was the one who invited the folks from Vision Ellettsville to get up here and talk again, and Ron Taylor, because I thought, okay, let's have everybody there who knows anything about this stuff so they can explain it to the council. So I'm sorry if it didn't come across well. It was my idea to do that. And Krista Curtis and Lisa Cisco and I and Mike Farmer and Ron Taylor had 2 meetings before that meeting. Plus we had phone conversations about how to do this, how to present it so that everybody understood it. So again, I apologize if it didn't turn out well, but we actually spent some time thinking about this. We didn't just vomit up a bunch of stuff for everybody to look at. So your exceptions are duly noted, And you have a point, so if you want me to have Ron Taylor and Vision Ellettsville come on September 1st, I will try to arrange it. But really and truly, people, I was trying to make things easier, and, you know, I don't know what to say beyond that, because it just didn't turn out well. That was a bad meeting, Dan. That's the worst town council meeting I've ever been at. So, there we go.
So that was the point I was trying to make earlier.
Thank you.
Was that you were trying to make our job easier. And I think where the
That's what you
confusion.
hire us for, that's what you hire me for.
I think where the
and-
confusion comes in, it has a lot to do with the way town government is set up. The town council controls the purse strings. They have to
Exactly.
award the contract before anything else can happen.
Thank you.
So the contract was awarded, now we're going to become involved, so.
I'm happy to have them come and speak to you. The intent wasn't to bypass anybody, really and truly, that was not in my mind. All I was trying to get accomplished at that meeting was, how can we explain this to the council, keeping in mind these conversations with Vision Ellettsville have been taking place over, you know, the last few months, and how do I put everything together so it makes sense? So obviously it was a bust, but I had the best of intentions.
Well,
So-
apparently it worked.
Well, I don't know if it did or not, but, because I'm still hearing about it, so,
Well, You know, and you're not gonna get me drug into this, but I will make a good point to you, Darla. I think it was the lack of advance notice is what personally got me upset.
I understand that,
And
but
I think that got these guys upset too. So, I mean, I appreciate what all you did, but my whole point was, why are you pushing this on us so quickly? It just seemed to me like there was something being hidden, or it's, to me, I still don't know why we had to vote on it that day.
well, at the risk of, well, here's the response to that. Somewhere in either the town manager's job description or the statute that appoints the town manager, it says he decides the agenda. So typically, he and I and Sandy talk, and the supervisors will chime in and say if they need something done. If you want to change that and make the town council president in charge of doing the agenda, that's fine. If you want your materials more than 48 hours in advance, make a rule and make them do a week in advance.
But, you know,
Or if you want to limit the number of new items or petitions that can come, you can make that. I understand everybody was upset, it was last minute, and again, I apologize for that, but,
yeah, and you really, you said it yourself right before the meeting, that you, Mike, everyone spent a lot of time on it.
right.
So why did you not give us that privilege to do that too? I mean, why should we make a notice? It's just common sense. Something that big, you just don't vote on it a day before or something. I mean, obviously, if someone brought up a contract to you, threw it on your desk right before a meeting, would you want to be voted on it? I mean, would you, without looking it over and investigating it?
Well, I guess what you need to tell me then is how much you want to be involved when we're meeting with people like Vision Ellettsville. I mean, part of the reason we're here, that I'm here, your supervisors are here, is to do work so you don't have to. Now, that doesn't mean you have to agree with our conclusions or everything we come up with, but if you want to be involved in meetings, sign up for the Vision Ellettsville stuff and show up at the meetings. If you want me to tell you every week, I can do a report telling you who I've talked to and what the meetings were about if you want to know that.
You know, we're getting way off topic.
We are.
Because I don't want to argue with you on it, because you're not obviously seeing my point on it.
Nope,
So,
I'm not, I'm sorry.
you know, I guess that's your privilege and it's my privilege to say, I don't understand why we had to vote on it that day, that minute, without this commission knowing about it and without us seeing the whole picture. And I'm just, as I was flabbergasted. I mean, I was like, that,
Well,
in the
it
20
didn't-
years I've been on council, never has happened to me.
Okay, well, I guess in response to that, it didn't occur to me that you wouldn't know the whole picture, given the number of people who have come from Vision Ellettsville to every town council meeting to talk about this, given that there was a big meeting on May 17th, honestly, it didn't occur to me that you wouldn't know the big picture.
You said right before, while you were discussing it, there was new things added to it. Yes, I knew a lot about Envision, but there was things added to the Envision, like the contract with the Taylor Group, all that was added to it at the last minute, which we should have time to look over. Now, maybe the rest of the council had time to look it over. I don't know, but I didn't.
Well, the Taylor Group
And-
was hired by Envision Ellettsville. We're just carrying through. We're just basically stepping in the shoes, the town is stepping in the shoes of Envision Ellettsville. So I guess what you'll need to tell me is, I guess if you want to be more involved, if you want to know about meetings when they come up, I can tell you, but part of the reason, like I said, we do that is so that we can tell you what's going on.
Did I hear you say that, excuse me to interrupt you, did I hear you just say that the Vision Ellisville hired the Taylor Group? That's what you just said. How can they hire the Taylor Group?
No, for Envision Ellettsville. For the, prior to last month, the meeting 2 Mondays ago.
Envision Ellettsville got a grant to write the Envision Ellettsville plan.
It was
So-
actually the Chamber of Commerce
Right.
and Main Street.
And Main Street, they got the
together,
grant.
Applied for a grant through community,
It was ROI,
okay,
Regional Opportunity Initiative.
and they were awarded the grant. The town gave them $5,000 toward their plan. So that was awarded at a council meeting quite a long time ago. So it's been like a partnership, but Kevin was involved with the request for proposals when they went out to the Taylor Group. And then you can take it from here. I
Did
don't,
anyone else respond to that RFP
For what?
for
The Envision Ellisville plan?
no, not that, the part they're doing for us, the ordinance updates, codes, things. Did Kevin ever send out the RFP?
As far as I know, no. But, I mean,
No.
it was a discussion, but no.
I thought we told him we were gonna do that. It just fell through the crack, I guess?
no,
No.
no, I can tell you a little bit about that if you
It,
want.
I finished the RFP, and then, it's my understanding, and Darla may have to help me explain this, for services, you don't actually have to seek bids
Correct.
for it.
You can though,
You
and it's
can.
often in the best interest of a municipality to do that and get more than one company doing 6 plans. So you may not have to, but if the council wanted to, they could have.
So, it was decided because of Taylor's involvement with the Envision Ellettsville, different options and the comprehensive plan that will come out of the Envision Ellettsville plan to go with the Taylor Group for, the Unified Development Ordinance.
Well,
But the
It just doesn't
RFP,
seem right
the
to me
RFP
either.
did make it to the website. And you did get one proposal.
Actually, 3 now.
Oh, okay. So, you know, if you, the whole, the other, one of the things that's good about sticking with one company is we've already paid a lot of money. They did, the chamber in their grant, paid a lot of money. And so now they've done a lot of that footwork and they know what's going on in Ellettsville. And they've answered, you know, gotten all these questionnaires come in and feel that they know what the public wants. So then to bring in another company, it's like starting at ground level again. So with the Taylor Group, we're starting up here with a little bit of kickoff.
Right, because they're familiar with the
I
project.
understand all that. I'm happy with that, but it just, that was a task that was assigned by this commission. So really, we did bypass you by voting on it through the council. We sent out the RFP from this commission. It got bypassed and the council hired people to do it for us without letting us know here. So that was another thing that upset me.
Well, I think some of those issues can be blamed is not the right word necessarily, but are more the responsibility of the town council president and the town manager than they are the town's attorney to take care
Oh,
of.
I'm not blaming Darla.
think
It may
And if
seem
you
like
want-
I am.
And if you
but-
want changes in those are the places to go to get things changed.
Yeah.
And you know, they invited Darla to a group meeting and gave her a task to do. And I mean, she went over and beyond making those binders. Her helper delivered them here on Friday at a luncheon. We were having a retirement luncheon in the rain. She delivered them in a giant plastic bag so they wouldn't get wet. So I mean, Darla's office put forth the effort.
There
and
is no doubt.
and those binders have been sitting on that desk, and, you know, I didn't know who to distribute them to. I gave them to the town council, and then I just left them out there, so if anybody wanted one, they get one. But the plan commission didn't know they were there, so sorry about that.
And Darrell, I'm not blaming you by any means, but I was told today that there is booklets for us sitting up here for the Vision of Ellisville. And could not understand why there's two council members on, hopefully I say it the right way, there's two council members on here that they should have distributed to us. Now, that's what I was told today. There's a lack of communication someplace.
Well, your point is well taken, but, so I'll try to figure out a way to fix it. But to go back to Dan's point, though, you know, the only reason it was on that town council agenda was to just keep things moving. There wasn't an intent to hide anything. There's nothing to hide. I mean,
Well-
we've been talking about it at public meetings for a year. There's nothing to hide.
Well, why was it just adamant to be voted on then?
Well, I
mean,
will
my
tell you, our
gosh.
town manager is very ambitious, and he's very impatient. And if you haven't seen that by now,
Well,
he wants to get things done 3 weeks ago. So anytime we do anything, we're not moving fast enough for him.
Well, part of the reason to get that master agreement in place between the town and the Taylor Group was because part of the Envision Ellettsville plan is to do flood remediation. And so that's one of the task orders, is to do the design to help with that. And that's something that has been going on for years now, that a lot of people have complained about at the meetings. You know, how many times do you have people show up and say, what are you doing about flooding? What are you doing about flooding? What are you doing about flooding? So I know that's only one aspect of the Envision Ellettsville plan, but the point was to just keep things moving and not let things set, and for everybody to forget about it and then pick it up again 6 months later.
We've
you
been
think
accused.
2 weeks would have hurt, seriously, though?
Well,
Are we gonna build a dam tomorrow?
No, I understand that, but
Like you said, we've been working on it years and years. 2 weeks would have not killed anyone.
that's, you know, for you and the other council members to decide whether to table
Oh, and I
something.
did. I decided a
understand.
lot.
You know, I was there, but that's for you guys to talk about. I don't say anything about, you know, the timing. All
Yeah.
somebody has to do is make a motion to table, and that takes precedence usually over every other thing that's on the table, so.
It
And I
was a
think she
mess.
was following the instructions from the town manager, because they had met together, and she was instructed to, you know, put this together and get it on the agenda. So she, too, is kind of been told to do something. I do want to make one thing straight, so we're not all on the same page. Christopher Burks has done all the engineering for the water remediation at the creek. They're telling us how to redo things to reduce the water. Taylor Group, if I understand it correctly, they're doing a plan for the streetscape on Vine
Design.
after the
Yeah, I'm
remediation.
sorry, that's correct, that's
Yeah.
part of it, yes.
Yeah, they're gonna
We're not
make
gonna
it
ditch
pretty.
Christopher Burke, right.
Right.
I'm sorry, yes, you're right, you're correct.
Okay, have we beaten that dead horse long enough?
I do think so. Please pick up your book on the way out, read it thoroughly, and we'll discuss it at our next meeting.
One more thing, Pat, do you want them to come here? since we don't have anything else on the
Well, I
agenda
don't
next
think it's
meeting?
just me, I think it's the decision of the
Well,
planning.
I
here.
mean, I'm for it.
You know,
If they
I'm
can
for
come,
it.
I don't think it would hurt anything at
Yeah.
all.
I think it would be a good thing for them to come and help us understand.
what's
So
gonna-
you want the people from Main Street and, the chamber, a representative from each, and the Taylor group. You want Ron Taylor here.
Yes, Ron Taylor presents himself very well. I would
Okay.
definitely like him here.
I think it'd be good to get everything out in the open,
That's fine.
how we feel, how they feel. You know, they might have the idea in their mind that we can go and shut off Vine Street, and that's what's gonna be. And I think everybody's gotta know who's doing what, and why, and where, and when, and
I do think there's some renditions in that Vision Ellettsville. I don't know that they're accurate, though.
I will be glad to ask them to come to the September 1st meeting.
Tell them we can set out if you want.
There is some big boards back there. I don't know if that has plan, they were from that meeting. Denise, did they have the plan outlined on, those big sandwich boards, so to speak?
Parts of it.
I
just-
think they're still back there.
Yeah, special things. There is a hardback book somewhere, but I don't think it's in that room anymore. But I thought somebody said they were supposed to print more.
Well, we had 2 in that room to start with,
Yeah, they're supposed to borrow them.
but nobody set up the system on, if you take this, please let us know, and so we can be sure to contact you to get it back. So if they're gone, they're probably gone.
I think we can get more copies.
Even a digital copy would be nice, that we could put on the website, that people could,
How about if I ask about that?
yeah.
I do have one other, something not even pertaining to this. In the past, if we didn't have anything on the plan, for us to talk about, we didn't have a meeting. And I just cannot believe what I hear, how we're growing so fast, and we're doing this and doing that, that why can't we have a meeting to discuss what's gonna happen here?
Well, I think all the big projects that that has gone through the plan commissions now being built, so there's not anything on the horizon anywhere right now. It's all been approved. You approved Barbary Estates earlier this year, but they haven't even started yet work. So my point being is everything's just working. There's not really anything new.
But there is, and we've been talking about it for an hour,
What?
okay? Of the Vision of Ellisville.
I had no idea you wanted to discuss Envision Ellettsville, or I would have put it on the agenda, or we would have had a meeting.
No, I mean, with people, with us, I mean, if we know what they wanna do, we can discuss it here
I don't
also.
think they know what they want to do yet.
So,
Well, and see, we're old school. All of us have been on the plan commission for an awfully long time. And pre-Kevin, we had our meeting every month. We, and
Yeah, we didn't skip any, and
we always had stuff to talk about.
I think that if we're gonna do that, though, we need to have an idea of what we wanna talk about. We need to give Denise
I
some
agree.
guidance about
Yeah.
what we wanna talk about, other than just show up and let's all talk, because we don't get anything
Exactly. I agree
accomplished
with
that
that.
way.
That's true too. And I wasn't saying that we had to do that. I'm just saying that that's what the old people are used to. I mean,
Us
the
real
ones,
old
the
people.
ones that have been on the plan commission a while. I'm sorry, I
The
worded that
experienced
incorrectly.
people.
Thank you.
So if you have particular things you wanna talk about, get with Denise and let her know so she can look into it, instead of just kind of expecting her to show up and entertain us.
she likes to entertain, don't you?
Okay, would someone like to make a motion to adjourn?
Hey, I found out we no longer have to do that. After 30 years, I found out at my last conference. The president can adjourn the meeting, yes. No
We're adjourned.
motion, no motion, just the adjournment and the time if you want to make notes.
Yeah.